how to do the big jazz hands intro, so I'll just say hey. My name is Matt Abbott. I used to run a night here called Chelping, which we started in April 2018 and, well, until lockdown, obviously. So you might have been to Chelping before. If not, welcome to Leeds Library, 250 years old, one of the most incredible venues in the country. And we're absolutely delighted that our first event after that is with Joelle Taylor. Joelle is currently on a UK tour launching her new book, Conto, and we're delighted that Leeds is hosting the Yorkshire leg, so we're very, very excited about that. In the first half, I've invited 3 students from the Leeds Arts Uni to do a little showcase section, so they're going to read about 5 minutes each. I'm going to start with a poem just to warm the room up, and then I shall hand over. This is a poem from my new collection. It's about the viaduct. Does anyone here know the viaduct?
Oh.
How would... Well, this is it. So how would you describe the viaduct?
A loud party bar.
A loud party bar? Any particular theme to the party bar?
It is an LGBTQ place,
Yeah.
but it's a very welcoming place for all.
Absolutely, yeah, it is. It's an LGBTQ place. They have drag cabaret, they have all kinds of amazing events on that welcome anybody who wants to go in from Leeds and further afield. About 15 years ago, it was a viaduct pub, and it was frequented by football hooligans on match day. And for some reason, I've been in both incarnations, and this is a poem about that space. And you walk in here, and just know, you don't hover. And the punters, they won't tell you, you have to ask yourself. Bodies make collisions, songs beat conversation. You either know the words to that one, or you don't. The wallpaper would sweat, now it's sequined. Dresses from Hugo Boss to Cross. Bald patch to blonde wig, swaying in the strut. Scars are exhibited one way or another. On crimson hands that looked as though they'd just been breaking bricks. On glittered hands that have just been painting nails. DIY tattoos showed swastikas. Calligraphy initials, a victim of the 80s. Pints pirouetted, dregs tossed like seeds. Flutes fly in encores, shots come as standard. Nod, sip, scowl, smoke, stand firmly where you can. Wave, sway, smile, sing, dance freely where you choose. Square inch territory, Stone Island jumpers, square foot slut drops, size 11 heels. Uninvited eye contact could shift you straight to Jimmy's. Nowadays, it could shift you on the spectrum. Busting noses, saving face, snorting keys and breaking bands. Who the fuck are Leeds United? The Whites go marching on. Lip syncs, hen do's, double dates and double stubble. Who the fuck are Leeds United? The Queens go dancing on. The Fred Perry Reef, the Stone Island Compass, the AIDS epidemic, the Stonewall riots, the Cross of St George, the Yorkshire Rose, the Union flag, the rainbow flag, the rainbow flag, the rainbow flag. Patches sewn on jackets, stories told with craft, tits made from silicone, egos like balloons, hip flasks with absinthe to weed out all the boys, hip flasks with absinthe unlearn the bullied boy. An altar, a hideout, a belonging, an outlet, a training course, an answer. From men who had to broadcast bollocks to those who choose to tuck. It's funny where some folk feel threatened. Cheers. I love that a space can transform that drastically and wonderfully. I'm glad that it happened in Leeds. So I'd like to introduce now a showcase section. As I said, these are students on the BA Honours Creative Writing course at Leeds Arts Uni. I saw them do a little showcase at Leeds Poetry Festival last month and they were wonderful. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Beth Harrison, Anna Hopkins and Hannah Prince.
I'm wearing just a white shirt and my palm
Permission granted. You know where to take me. And I ride ready in your big black car. I climb out, you pop the boot, and you watch in the rearview mirror as I take your heavy baseball bat, raise it above my head, aim for his knees, and scream, "You lying, cheating But then, life-affirming breath as I sit bolt upright in my bed, and a car door slams, engine retreats, and in my empty palm, a splinter. Hi, I'm Beth. I'm going to do like 3 poems, and this one's about babies. Lump, limb, flop, globby baby limbic systems, cooing and gurgling and choosing to live. Exquisitely, exquisitely, exquisitely you within your violets and your veins and your fleshy little love. In a cherubim choo-choo chain of events, brass or gold, the seedling and I are away. We are sapling also, and precious so despite the germs not always being bad. Scab, wrap me over for a healing and a rough soft afterbirth teardrop. Nibbling, giggling gums, handkerchiefed globule with tiny little teeth, a delight, so nourished. We sewed together a throat and an umbilical heart cord. I'll flood your mouth, he'll flood mine, with my own. I, though fierce, have thoughts in the obsessive. My opus, I think I could be still swelled. When your hands begin to resemble my own, when your fingertips have reached and grown, you will only feel tenderized, lukewarm, and gentle without frostbite, a person of your own. A heaven that yawns, a soft weight in the crook of my arm, and a newfound lightness in my exquisite, exquisite, exquisite everythings. And then this one's called Invisible Sea Snail. I saw you, I did, I saw you. Sugar soaked on the seashore, stuck in a shell, come seek me, I'll see myself out. I'm an invisible sea snail suctioned to this rock formation. Tentacles, a poison sore, you're soaring. You sweat, you swore. I see you through my vesiculars, you're soaring. Sorry eyes is what I'll call you. Can't fly in this heat, but grows only in full sun. A bit suspicious if you ask me, you won't, but scabs are usually a good sign, so ignore me. Old and salty, and fuck my ribcage in, would you? I can't seem to find the love in it lately. Your wings have gone, sculpted song, clean swab. You ask me, where's my wishbone? I say, I think it's around here somewhere. I've definitely seen it. You say, snap it, go on, see if I care. You've snapped it, haven't you? I shake my head and show you my mucus trail. You can always see where I've been. And then you say, it's too hot to even think. Why do we have to live in the tropics? It's your silly iridescence and your sickle-billed defiance. Your brain troubles me, and so do your feathers. I'm slow on land and you're fast in sky. We really shouldn't be friends, nor side by side. So slip away. This is the end. Just got we hold one another in the womb? I think we must have done. It's been 23 years of you and me. I think of you often. If I'm struggling with writing, you melt before me and I have something to grasp onto again. I took up more room. You were smaller, but we still weighed less together than a singular baby would. My mother has no stretch marks. Now you tower above me, but you, unlike I, are still skin and bone. I had a heart murmur. You were all pink like a baby rabbit. The sack leaks, and we are born. And your smile makes me want to die. I haven't seen it for so long now. And I want to remold you, different this time, happier. Imagine this painter at his easel, immersed in the act of abstraction. Not one person, but two. Just as cells, forever as cells. What cells? The squiggles of human nature, an angry writhing, a sticky smiling. We haven't had a birthday cake for years. You don't believe in wishes anyway, and I picture my intestines all over the kitchen table. Remember when we went into the sea at sunset, and you were laughing, and the salt was stinging, and we could see the bones of that pier. It's always been your teetering mouth, your long legs, your stubbornness, and your sadness. Standing outside with the stone of the house behind, when we used to smoke roll-ups, you had a cup of tea, and my teeth chatted. You told me how you'd slept with him, and how you didn't like it. You say you don't enjoy yourself unless I'm there, and I read something once about the codependency of twins. We would sit side by side at nursery and cry when we got separated. Sometimes I wish I was more like you. You know yourself, but unlike you, I know what I want. And please know that if I ever hurt you, it would only be to get to the very heart of you. How big were our baby hearts? 2 little fists with perfect fingernails scratching at the bottom of a lake. Clay had these crazy eyes, but to be honest, I only ever care about the blue of you.
So this first poem is called She. She whispered words and I swallowed them, while the darkest moon grimaced from its throne, perched upon the horizon. The words poured out, puncturing her lips, her voice edged with silver, the blade of her tongue cut forth. There's blood on these walls, some of which will have to stay. That which is broken will have always been so. But her mouth was too steady, her eye was too loud. The moon and I blinked, and she was gone. This one's called After. You and I, him and you, we're all just the same, aren't we? Just trudging on in this snail trail shitstorm, trying to do what's best for us, but not really. We're our own worst enemy, just like you telling me who I am, and me telling him who you were, and him telling me, well, nothing, actually. You stay, and that's fine, I guess. You crush your way through my chest and my stomach, ripping, tearing alligators in my eyes and my teeth, and I'm free again, to be light and whole and hungry. And this last one's called Unspoken. Soaking up unspoken sound, that which lips would only break, the crunch of tooth, enamoured enamel, careful, oh lips, a gift. Your wretched words of mine make a mess. How could my tongue forget the taste of your smile, her musical hum? Pray, lover, play me a song. Coil the throat, choke on and the silence, spit back and back, bring forth. Soak me up, spoken and unspoken. Deliver me, deliverance of tongue and tooth and lip. Kiss me, melt me down, let me taste the salt of your sea.
Thank you very much. Beth Harrison, Anna Hopkins and Hannah Prince there. That was wonderful from Leeds Arts University. Well done. Okay, so I know we've not been going for very long, but we're easing his way back into it. This all still feels a bit strange. So what I'm suggesting is like a 5-10 minute comfort break. Not a full interval, right? Just a quick comfort break. If you need the toilet or you've drunk your drink quicker than you thought you would, do what you need to do. But once you've finished doing what you need to do, come back in here. And in like 5-10 minutes, we'll welcome the inimitable poetry powerhouse that is Joelle Taylor. So 5-10 minute comfort break, okay? See you soon. the second half. So, as you know, we have wonderful Joelle Taylor performing tonight. When we started Chelping in this venue in April 2018, Joelle was the first headliner, which really raised the bar and put us under pressure to keep programming, because Joelle's one of the best poets on the scene right now, internationally acclaimed, just a wonderful poet, wonderful person. I've got such a great admiration for her energy, her work, her talent, everything. She's amazing, and she's touring this new book called Conto. So this was published by Westbourne Press, which is an imprint on Saki. It's one of the top 8 books of 2021, according to the Telegraph. There will be copies available for sale afterwards. Card payments are accepted. I'm sure Joelle would be happy to sign a copy as well, if you so wish. But yeah, basically, whenever someone says, "Oh, I'm fairly new to poetry, who should I check out?" Joelle's name is one of the first that always comes to mind. Anybody who's seen her live just will rave about her all day long. And if you haven't seen her yet, you're in for a real treat. So I'll stop embarrassing her. Please welcome Joelle Taylor.
So much, Matt. You have got no idea how handsome you look to me right now. Like Matt has been my absolute guardian angel on today's journey. Most of you probably know there were a couple of people who were on the tracks today from London, so it looked like it was going to be cancelled. It really, really did. But thanks to Matt's great big heart and his, I'm going to marry him actually, because he met me. I didn't even expect him there. I come to the station, I'm like, I've got words in my mouth, you know, I'm like, fucking fucker. As I'm coming through like the station, and he was just there, and he's like, not any wine, but like Campo wine, gay wine, some wet wipes, and some deodorant, and I was just, let me lick your face. So big up to Matt Abbots and everybody. Our whole scene depends on this, we've got this ecosystem, and that's each other. So the 3 poets who read there are a vital part of our ecosystem. Matt's a vital part of the work I do. And we just keep this rolling between us. All the small events and the huge events, it's the same damned thing. So I'm here to show you my golden book. When we were talking about the covers, I was like, Faber, but make it gay. So when it came out, it looked exactly like Richard Scott's Soho, and I was like, no, we don't do that. So this book is very different to the ones I've written before. Number 1 difference is that it's a full story. So it's a memoir. It's part conjecture and part absolutely real. I've tried to capture the essence of the butch counterculture and the lesbian underground scene of the 80s and early 90s in London. And it follows the story really. Everybody that you'll hear about in this book is real. I changed their names, but I think I'm probably going to go back to their real names, having performed it now in a few places and met some of the people who are part of that whole scene, that whole movement. So just to give you some context, it's the mid-80s, Section 28, still a gleam in Margaret Thatcher's eye. It's not there yet, but we didn't need Section 28 to feel shit. We really didn't. Like, we didn't used to come out back in those days. You know, like now, there's like Demi Lovato, Instagram, millions of people sobbing. And you're like, what? We used to leave. That was it, you know? So the very famous song called Small Town Boy by Jimmy Somerville, which really captured that spirit, which is that you are not welcome in your own home, and you were not. You're not welcome in your school, you're not welcome at work. And so you leave, and there's this big gay migration, which was to London. London is the space that could accept us. And really, we were all this sense not only of migration, but of exile. That's a really important part of it. So, I want you to imagine the world I'm going to take you into is a world where you are incredibly ugly and unhandsome and disliked. And there's this door. And when you open the door, you are handsome. That was the difference. This is what's so important, why I wanted to pay homage to the underground scene, to the spaces that we created together. And frankly, it's a call to start them again, because the LGBTQ plus scene is fighting really hard. And if you buy the book, you'll see that that's That's a really dangerous thing to be doing in this moment, when Chechnya is 5 hours away, when Hungary is away. It's very close as well. Ghana, Uganda, the homophobic attacks in Liverpool, the murder in Tower Hamlets, Birmingham. So homophobic incidents and transphobic incidents are massively on the rise. Poland has, I don't know how many LGBT-free zones now, but that zone is like Leeds says LGBT-free. Yeah? This is now. This is real. So while we're arguing the toss on social media, they're coming. They're coming. So, with that in mind, I should now go on to the book, that cheery introduction. So, the book begins when a series of vitrines start to appear around London. And a vitrine is like a museum glass display case. But in this book, they're different sizes. So you can have a massive one with something huge or small in it, or a very small one like a snow globe, or even a bottle of something. Just some kind of idea that there is a container. And within those containers are some of the most important moments from my personal life as a dyke. We don't say dyke anymore, can I just say it? Because we used to love that word, okay? Justice, Boudica, dyke. That's me. Yeah, I'm not LGBT, I'm not lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans. Jesus. Do you know what I mean? It's like BAME. It's useful for people, but not necessarily a good descriptor. So these vitrines begin to appear all over London, outside the old squats, the cruising grounds, all over Compton Street, and inside my various things from my life. So I'm going to take you into some of those scenes now. And the first one is called Scene 1, bizarrely, because I'm so imaginative. And some of the poems in this book are written as film directions, because I think poetry is cinema to an extent. So just allow yourself to absorb it. Scene 1, exterior night. A main road in London. LX1. Street lights. Watch a woman pass and text each other. FX1. The sound of a door opening into a chest cavity. A lone woman walks briskly, head down, holding invisible bouquets. Ahead of her is a hunched building with its hands in its pockets, bracketed by gossiping fairy lights. LX2. A neon sign flashes its pink dilate. Maryville, the sign says. The woman pushes open the door and enters her own body. At the bar, she orders a drink, and when it arrives, it is her breath. Music is playing. It's the sound of someone being listened to. She notices that she's sitting at every table. When the woman asks her to dance, the whole of her past stands up to dance with her. Her classmates, her teachers, the manager of the shop she worked in over Christmas, the newspaper proprietor, the street she grew up on, an adjacent town, her parents and grandparents, the kid who waited for her after school. The song ends, the world opens, Venus rises. Thank you. Let's have a little chat about your poetry clapping. It tastes like I heard ponies. Do it again. Do it again. Dressage. So, for those of you who weren't around at that time, Venus Rises. Does anybody remember Venus Rising? Yes. The biggest lesbian club in Europe, and it was in Brixton. And it was enough to make me hitch to London with 20 quid, which lasted me like fucking years. I'm still getting to the last bits of it. I was in a bedsit with a load of kind of workmen next door to Venus Rising. And it was so important to us. It was so important to have this space where we were handsome, not just not ugly, not just like understood, but literally our world. 254 gay spaces, bars, clubs closed in London alone in the last decade. There is one lesbian bar left in London. Can we have a gasp? No. It's like being Hitler, but like with cool shoes. So I want to, if you imagine the Maryville bar. Now what that was like, I've made an amalgamation of some of the dirty ways that I spent my beardless youth in. So Spaces, in case you know them, it's based on an amalgamation of the Artful Dodger, the Bell, the Duke of Welling, and the Royal Oak. God forgive us. These spaces. And they're inside this bar, which is very working class culture, by the way. It's very working class dyke culture. Inside the bar, you're not only safe, but it's got its own ecosystem. So there's a lot of drug dealing going on. There's an awful lot of sex. People don't talk about lesbians having sex, but you know, we're as ferocious. We're not, no. No, we are. No, we're not. Inside this bar, there are 4 butchers. Let me explain what a butch is. So, the clearest description is a masculine presenting woman in some kind of way. But we have a ceremonial role within gay culture that's pretty much like the drag queen. So the drag queen doesn't think that he's a woman. It's a kind of conduit moment. And I'm not talking about RuPaul and all those people, but your traditional end of the pier, hideous, fabulous drag queen. The butch is the mother. It's the opposite to what you think. So it's not a bunch of women fixing cars and playing snooker. We do that, but that's like for erotic purposes. Just to, play snooker. But they guide the bar. They take care of each other. So this first poem, I've just found out, has won an award. Except from the Ford Prize. So the poem's called Valentine, and it's based on my friend Abby, who's now passed. Born, right body, wrong day. Valentine flicks her lighter in the corner of the club, and white women flutter. Tonight, she has dressed as the inside of a mouth, a hand-sewn suit excised from a cured night sky. Black leather has its own skincare routine. It listens to its mother. I've heard it said, some girls give birth to themselves on the backs of motorbikes. Invent the wind. Let the road curl from between their legs. Let the road uncurl from between their legs. The Lemnisket motorway, something British and unbidden. I know why we're drawn to the corners. It's where the road cannot reach us. Every part of a woman is a weapon if you know how to hold her, Valentine says. The corner flicks its morse, and in the dark, white hearts beat like moths against a headlight. Thank you. Clapping like one hand has offended the other. Right, wonderful. So I want to introduce you to another one of my friends, who in the book is called Angel. Now, Angel, God. So Angel's like a ball of violence. Very good looking violence, but a ball of violence. And if you can imagine her dressed fully in camouflage, we literally all dressed in camouflage, like literally. I remember going out with my skinhead and like camouflage pants on and big docks and a camouflage vest and dog tags, and you're just like, what kind of a gay army is this? We were just mincing. I'm really surprised when people attacked us as well. So Angel, younger than the rest of us there. When Angel looks in the mirror, it looks away first. Star fist, open jaw, how the shine becomes you, clean friend. Taller than yesterday, spine and unravelling plot, you odd insistence, my king of the blue tattoo. Eyebrow pinned, young butterfly, when you walked in the room, it became you. How you brought the silence in with you. How you brought the night to its knees, back there, where the quiet ones go, and now the night won't stop texting. How many times have we walked home, you and I, only to find home walking softly behind us? I have seen you leap over language to push a man back inside himself, throw pint glasses like seeds, speak to every woman as though she were your mother. I have seen your fists sob. At the centre of every boy is a bare room, and inside a swinging light bulb, a wire thin girl dances, stays with you, even when you look away. Angels don't fall from heaven, they leave at closing time. Unscrew their fucks in the backs of black cabs, abandon their bodies beneath a girl, beneath a duvet, beneath the wet dilated night, on fire. And then there's another character called Jack Catch. Now, this is actually becoming, I haven't really announced this yet, Matt, but it's becoming a musical. Conto, that was the best response we've heard. It's actually becoming a musical. I know. So the 4 Butch characters are going to come to life. If there's anybody here who identifies as Butch or a boy. By the way, when I say boy, I'm spelling it B-O-I. And that's like me. But I can't say that anymore because I'm a grand boy. So Jack Catch is a character who's older than the other ones. In the play, it's going to be played, the musical, it will be played by me. Cheers. Because they're like, there's never going to be anybody older than you. So, cheers, man. The kind of musicals from Jack Catch's perspective. But here's her thing. And she's just really like, what the fuck is going on? Jack Catch, in a hound's tooth suit, oxblood brogues, knitted tie, sharpens the air she walks through. The room sucks its stomach in, tries not to look. She can undo a bar with one hand, old school, preserved in the amber of lager. Maryville is aspic, fixing all the silverbacks at 7:32 p.m. 1985. Hair you could picnic on, bring the family. The music has been remembering its childhood, scratching its hazy outline for hours when Soho and her girls walk in. The side streets slung around their necks as feather boas, each wearing her mother pinned to her breast, pearls, low-hanging fruit, and the old boys stop talking, each afraid of her own face, that it might eat her. But Jack Catch stands, pulls a chair out of her sleeve, tips the barman, taps a cigarette to stand out from the others, and when Soho asks for a light, she is speaking of forgiveness. And when Jack opens her Zippo, she's showing how easy it is to burn, how aspic dissolves. And now the silverbacks look towards saloon doors that never open. Young things, Eddie and Glamour, are paintings of themselves. And old Jack Catch straightens the crease in her hound's tooth says, Jesus. Are all women female impersonators? Says, everything is running back inside. There are new words for words. And surveying the club, mutters, I remember when all of this was a loose stone in a wall. Thank you. I could only dance. I would dance. I'll break dance. I broke it. Thank you. Anyway, I want to talk to you about the word canto. This book is written in cantos, and I had a joke with Anthony Naxaguru, who's a very good friend. We run Outspoken together, and he said, "Those are cantos," in this big manly voice, and I went, "Ha, cantos." These are about women. And it just became like a joke between us, a crass, stupid joke. But as various bits of this book, I'm going to do the big bit at the end called Canto. It just became known as Canto. So when this book was coming out, they were like, "It's brilliant, we'll call it Canto." And I was like, "Oh, you fucking won't." I don't want it called that. And we had such a row. Until eventually I googled the word canto to prove that it was crass and stupid, and it's a word, and it means to narrate a personal story, past singular historic. Jesus spoke to me. I want to take you a little bit into the club now. Let's go to. I've spoken a little bit about what it's like to walk in and belong, and what belonging means. This book about community, it's about grief. But you can't feel grief unless you feel love, can you? So it's a book of joy and deep despair. Enjoy. So this is called Summer All Night Long. It relates to one night in particular. I know I was wearing leathers, because I wore leathers all the time, because you only had to buy one set of clothes for the rest of your life and shave your hair off. So I'm wearing my leathers. It's very hot in there. Lots of sweat, a lot of women sweating. And I just don't think we talk enough about females, their viscerality, and how air can be muscular, and how we move through it and have that agency. So, boys, soft-skinned and shaven, shelter from the sun in the shadows cast by elder butches, kick balls and catch each other. Sketch out a conus with billiards and recreate the moment of conception. There are only so many holes a boy can fall down. But here she is again. And maybe the film reel jumps a little here, by which I mean heart. And when I say heart, what I mean is idea. Boys are newly planted as she passes. There's a reason storms are named after women. And one boy, her tongue, a diving board, launches into her fathom. Nothing as concrete as a backslap. Nothing as young as slapped palms, but still, the bar knows what it knows. That a tongue is a bed, and this boy understands how to make it. Origami the sheets into something wild and confident. A swan, or the Hadron Collider. They will practice their careful all night. Morning will leave by the back door, never call. But the boy dreams, thinks, maybe this time something will be born. Thinks, if I had a baby, I would call it Flinch. Thank you. So it's very different art form, spoken word, where we resolve things for people on stage, and more published work in which you get that brilliant noise that Matt just made. You get the pony clap in, everyone's doing frottage, and then someone will go, let's just get it out of our systems now. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Oh, love you. Wicked. So I'm going to do a piece now called, just to give you a bit of a sense of who I am, it's called The Unbelong. It was commissioned by Inoa Ellams, who also worked on this book. Inoa Ellams is an incredible poet and playwright. He's also, you know, as straight as I'm bent. And I wanted to work with someone who understood the power of performativity of words and how to translate words into stage and stage backwards. But it led to some quite hilarious moments where I tried to explain what fist fucking is. Anyway, long story. It's called The Unbelong. 1. Daughter. We are all born grieving. That's why babies cry. I am birthed, walking backward into the wind, apologizing, making peace treaties with my skin. See a small girl haunt a television. See a small girl tap dance across knuckles. Strangers take their faces off when I enter rooms. I am unborn. Sing the unbelong. Swim against the tide of tongues. I am the girl with the face of a man. Crack thin, cold as school corridors. I am tangled cotton, speaking in knots, but I have 2 hands, each of them dog. I teach them to fetch, to hunt, retrieve. They sleep curled at the bottom of my bed. My dogs strain at their leash, bite children. When I open my mouth, a bugle-led hunt streams out. Violence is its own mother. Mother breastfeeds fists. Violence is a girl backed up against herself. Everything about her. Ghost. Everything. Bed. 2. Mother. The past is always slightly ahead. Peering around a red brick corner. Warming the wet bed. Smoking a cigarette. I rent a separate flat for my body to live in while I write myself into the world, feeding thin slithers of raw promises to the empty mouths of purses, watching flocks of pockets disappearing over the skyline. There are girls who have nothing to eat but themselves. Their small spines, flagpoles stuck in soft mattresses in Brixton bedsits. All of our mothers are warnings. In the morning, I dress in the reflection of the class ceiling. Careful colours. The shade of the unbelong. I am my mother in my father's suit. Still the girl with the face of a man. Still wrong walking tree. My sisters, who taught me to throw punches like life rings into bad water. My sister's bowling hearts, red hand grenade. My sister bombs shelter. My sister's giving birth to battlefields. My sister a battlefield. My sister excavating chests. My sisters archaeologists. My sisters unclipping their shadows and setting them free. My sisters whose graves give birth. My sisters who store their smiles between their legs. My sisters who tamed my fists, had them vaccinated, spayed. My sisters who stroked my face back into its kennel. My sisters who taught me to pluck the weeds from my tongue, pull the pin out of a poem and cover my ears. My sisters, listen. Can you hear? Outside, dogs have begun to bark their real names and no longer flinch when kissed. My sisters, watch. Can you see? A small girl walks into her body and turns the bedroom light on. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do one more smaller one. And yeah, this is, so the idea of the vitrine, okay, obviously there's a lot of, what do you call it, reverse engineering when people ask me this, and I've been interviewed, I'm like, well, obviously the history of store and things are preserved, break the glass escape, all of that. The real story is, one of my very first girlfriends was actually a rebel dyke. You heard of the rebel dykes? Awkward. So the rebel dykes were basic, yeah. Yes, I have. So the Rebel Dykes now is a film, and it's basically a bunch of exactly what I'm talking about. These people, but they've made a whole exhibition about it, and they've just released a feature film. They asked me to read for them. So one of them was my girlfriend, and I met her brother, who was also gay. And I was a kid, you know, so I was like, oh my god, it's like all families of gay people everywhere. It's amazing, London, brilliant. But it was in 1995, or the early 90s, and it was London. And this poem is set in Heaven nightclub, which I've had the pleasure of launching this book in London. Yeah, and Richard was HIV positive, and then he got AIDS very, very quickly, because it did. Very quickly it happened. And at his funeral, which was at a place called the London Lighthouse. Now, the London Lighthouse is a hospice, but it's a community centre. You know, it was a riot. A lot of our brothers are buried in the gardens out there. And when he died, he left me a snow globe, which I still got. So that's where the original idea come from. This is Heaven, 1995. Imagine me, right, completely off my face, really good looking, obviously. Really off my face, because we all were.
What were you wearing? Did you have leathers?
Yeah. I was wearing black leathers. I used to wear well, it's probably topless, frankly, because didn't have tits, not on me, but, because we were with our brothers. So as well as that freedom of being dykes, was a real freedom for us, a particular group of us who were into sort of dance music, to be around our brothers, to be around gay men, because they didn't give a shit if you took your clothes off at all. They were just like, oh yeah. It was, you know, a much more. Anyway, Heaven, 1995. Vinegar, this moment of belief. Club in a fish tank. Riot Genesis. A boy touches her fingertip to a light beam, and God winks a wet eye. Maybe the light is an escalator to the afterlife, or the after party, or the parts of her body she checked in the cloakroom. But tonight, all of the dead will dance with her. All of the dead are well dressed this evening. They solemn the escalator descend to the dance. Tequila Mockingbird releases her wig back into the wild, blows a kiss that exhales into carrion birds, the core of bad lipstick, numb beaks scattering round white seeds, from which Gautier sailors grow, haloed in certainty, their muscles, the shaven heads of women marching back into their bones, a clearing at the centre of them. The butchers peel off their shirts, and underneath they are children. Salt this boy, how she reaches toward the infinite, this moment between, how she sees the ghosts of those still alive, how she conjures life from life, how the lighthouse winks at the storm. Thank you. So many things here. I'm just like, shall I? Yeah, come on. You know I'm going to knock it over. Okay, so I want to do the poem now. It's about 10 minutes. It's my final piece, and it's called Contact. And I was touring my last book, Songs My Enemy Taught Me, which was very, it's a very moving experience. It's really gratifying, really joyful experience. But it's a book about sexual abuse and making connections with other women around the world, other people around the world who's experienced these things. So it's quite heavy, it's quite traumatic to constantly go out every night and sort of do that work. Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. The real story is, I was in Australia and I couldn't get any weed. And because I can't get weed, It means that I am absolutely raw. All my life I've smoked weed, all my life, every single day, and it enables me to function. But if you're going off to other countries, you have to let go of that kind of thing, and suddenly the past comes in. It's not just the head, it's sitting next to you. At which point, Apples and Snakes, big company that supports a lot of poetry in this country, asked me to write a 10-minute piece around the theme of protest. And because I was so far away from everyone I loved and knew, because I couldn't knock myself out, so I could have got drunk, I guess, but that's just not really my thing. I don't know, I see the words talking. It gave me an immediacy with the page that I don't normally get. And so when I started to write about protest, I wanted to write about what it's been like to be in this body. When I got back to the UK, I sent them a set of cantos, because I didn't read the contract properly. I thought I was going to be standing in a moody way in a corner reading the cantos. Oh no. I get back and they're like, so, here's your stage done, here's your director, could you take your clothes off? You're in here. And literally they stripped me down to white boxer shorts and a white vest and put me in a boxing ring, roped off with barbed wire. And in one corner was me, and just in my and the other corner was this suit, the full blue Donegal suit and tie and shoes in the other corner, and it's directed to the suit, and throughout the piece I get dressed. So this is called Contact. Some girls fall from sunlit skies straight down into flat pack floral dresses, grab their smiles from a hook behind the door, rescue their faces from riptides of mirrors. Some girls are always falling. Round 1. The body as battleground. You fall and miss your body entirely, land somewhere in enemy territory behind the lines. Your body a foreign country you cannot get a visa for. Your skin a parachute caught in tree branches. You awaken in no man's land. Gunfire from over the horizon, and women are crucified on hashtags across the dark hills. Your trench is crowded with dead women, wearing faces that try to escape them, and the clothes of someone you once knew. There are landmines buried deep beneath your skin, and no one understands them. In between the battle cry and the bedroom is this muscular quiet, this no man's land, and this is where you live. Men explode when you least expect it. All these lifetimes searching for body. 2. The body has protest. Born backward, bright back and wide, skinned rolling, cigarettes and shirt sleeves, skyline chin, Levi 501s called up to cough, lip the same, white t-shirt so they can project themselves on you, tsunami quiff, and black boots whose roots spread and tangle to the centre of the earth. You don't wear makeup to prove you have not made anything up. This is your face. Your father's friends gave it to you. One Christmas Eve, 1973, you unwrapped it beneath a decorated tree from which the rest of your family hung. They sipped cocktails as you slowly disappeared, swaying gently to that wail of celebration, the harbinger of party. You cut your first suit from the thick silence when you enter a room. They call you Butch. The name derived from Butch Cassidy. You are the descendant of outlaws. Outlaws, irony incarnate. Woman butchered cut into select, meets, middle distance stare, shoulder, breast, wild tongue. They fear you. Boy, butch dyke, diesel female sodomite, lady faggot bulldagger queer pervert, gold star silverback stud invert, kiki she-male drag drone, baby butch tomboy, stone. But if you are a stone, you are a chip off the mountain, and you join an avalanche of wrong walking women, shaven heads like tumbling rocks. You keep them close, they are. Rosary. On the dance floor, we are tidal, heckle the night, handing nods between us and handshakes that stop our handshaking. We are untamed, a wilderness of women. We are waste ground. What a waste, love. Nothing grows on us, barren and sterile and unuseful female, empty as church pews. The wind rattles its fists inside our wounds. Come on then, snake boy. Come on then, heretic healer. Where are the maths that solve us? How do we fit into your algebra, your binary code? Our bodies are political placards. And we dance as demonstration that you do not own us. It is revolution in the living room, uprising in the public toilets, insurgency in the suburbs. Fear us, I told you to. Not funny enough for your talk show, bro. A woman without makeup is a woman without a face. Who knew that when we were cleansing, we were erasing our whole existence? Round 3. The body as trespass. Dyke, you are a trespasser in your own body. The landowners are men who pass by you in the street. In Accrington, cars stammer and words ejaculate from half-open windows. Your mother's phone rings in the middle of the night. Shh, do you know about your daughter? I think you ought to. 3 Pentecosts with Nazi insignia break into your home. God's an atheist, no longer believes in himself, and they unscrew the light bulb slowly, eyes fixed on the unmade-up girl, trembling defiance. They offer a prayer for you to leave your family. You do. 30, and a man pulls you over the back seat of a bus and stubs his kiss out on your cheek, slowly. A boxer's embrace, but he doesn't throw the punch. He posts it. You wait by letterboxes, flinch when it chatters, never answer the phone. In Brixton, men cradle their fists like babies and watch as you walk past as though they are thin-ribbed cats in the undergrowth and you, a small, shaven-headed bird. There's a reason women are compared to birds, and it's got to do with wings. Some songs harden on the wind. Some girls are kept in gilded cages on suburban mantelpieces. 18. Out, clubbing with the crew. A baby butch in the abattoir of beauty. The quiver and frantic. White girls with bindis. White boys with dreadlocks. Saris and docks. We are the modern primitives, wearing our heritage like white flags, like cowardice, and we dance as though we are stamping out fires, as though our boots are hammering in the last nails to the coffin of the old gods. Strangers hug and tell each other secrets. You are ecstatic. But then the light looks away. Skinny wolves separate you from the flock. Wallpaper, the drugs, no longer working as they amber you. Aberration, and they must conquer what they cannot. name. 23. And you finish rehearsals in the city with nowhere to sleep. So you wish the posh kids good night. And you walk, and you walk, and you walk, and you walk, and he finds you quickly. And your degree won't save you. And when you come round, you are empty, and his eyes are full, and above you, twin gods. This is the first time you think you're going to be killed, and when you're not, it's a disappointment. The morning after pill is a communion wafer, and you are forgiven your trespasses. You learn quickly. Men are broken things, breaking things. Round 4. The body as cemetery. The first time you die, you drink a bottle of cleaning fluid, and moths of nurses wrap you in white swaddling curses. Q, they whisper a back alley lullaby. Q, they croon as you're interred into your hospital bed, and when the mourners come, they seem happy. A picnic in a mortuary. The third time you die, it's classic, cinematic. A bottle of your mother's sleeping pills, you swallow them without water, watching a film about a girl who is not loved. The film ends, the cinema empties, but no one notices the thin thing lying there with a mouth like an earthquake in a country no one can spell. They don't find you till morning, and when they do, you are packed off to the fat priests of psychiatry to apologize. You lie, and your smile is a torn cunt, a split. Round 5. The body as backroom. Each night we have a lock-in and meet at the back of my heart, smoking in circles, passing grins between us like pass the parcel, opening each layer of the smile until the pith is revealed. We are ferocious women. Eating our children, our youth, stepping out of our skins and leaving them draped behind us like soiled wedding dresses, falling into each other's mouths. This is love. Furious love. We die slowly. Cigarettes stubbed against obsidian skies. A brain explodes into night butterflies. A car loses its grip on reality. Suicides by the bouquet full. Not one of my friends is allowed to live in her body unaccompanied. Always a landlord. Always a lodger. Round 6. The body is haunted house. In sleep, my body is a haunted house. There are footsteps along fallopian corridors. The corridor is a rope strung across a mouth. I have been woken by blurred voices without bodies, quiet arguments in my basement. Once I was possessed by a small girl who looked the same as me, who self-murdered on a Sunday afternoon while her parents were downstairs hardwiring their hangovers and Christmas tunes played in nooses. My heart is a church bell and nobody visits, and God is a man with his hands in his pockets, watching. Round 6. The body as uprising. Oh, you bayonet boys, you truncheon rub. My face doesn't fit my face, but your fist does. Years from now, no one will remember how we fought, how each bruised knuckle was a white boy's head bent in prayer. No one will remember the love how alike it is to rage, how screams made corporeal are rainbows, or how rainbows became corporate logos, or how we carved our epitaphs into a stone wall. No one will remember unpicking acronyms by candlelight, so fuck it. I'll be in the back bar of heaven. Kaz will be getting around it and releasing that laugh. Wild birds escaping her mouth. None of this will matter. I'll be riding the ghost roads with Avi. Bareback, knee clench on her Harley. I'll be stretching the skins with Sam Sylvan. How did we ever get so old, friends, so silver-backed? I'll be scoffing the city with Dudzilly. Men will stare like open shaft minds. I'll be walking the white lines with Angel, tight mouth, antelope, heart. I can't remember the names of all my dead friends, but they're here now. Our grief, a leather jacket. Our laughter, static. As we fade to a sepia, the colour of blood mixed to water, disappearing down a plug hole, much like the meeting of our legs. Remember her, this. My whole life is a protest. Thanks so much, people. That's the end of the performances, scheduled performances this evening. Obviously, I'd love you to buy a book if you are able to, apart from the three who went up there. I'll give you a book, obviously. But please come and talk to me. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, I can't say anything, Joelle.
Yeah.